At times in life when things go wrong, we all need somebody to lean on. And family's the one thing that's always there. Your family should always care. Oh, family should always care. Hey, Uncle Alcohol is antidepressants hanging somewhere around. 'Cause you two bring me up when I'm down. Hey, Uncle Alcohol.
We have another great show lined up for you tonight, so don't go anywhere. Stay right where you are. We'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Robert DeLessio, and I'm the host of Rob's Inner Circle, broadcasting live from Montreal, Canada. A reminder that we're going to be taking a 2-week break, and that's as of next week, and we'll be coming back on January 10th, 2022, with another amazing guest, Montreal's own musician, bassist, Mike Marino. So that's coming up on January 10th. I want to give an amazing shout out to the amazing producer of Rob's Inner Circle, none other than the amazing Jenny Duhame. And I also want to give a shout out to the podcast technician here on the show, Patty, Ladies, Starlight, Saragossa. The Noon Hour Out of the Box podcast that I so proudly co-host with Esther Basinski airs every Wednesday between noon and 12:15. This week, the topic is going to be New Year's resolutions. And you can also catch the Noon Hour Out of the Box podcast every Saturday. It airs at accessradio.ca between noon and 3 p.m. The Daily Struggles sitcom is up and running on the Riseup TV channel on the ROKU streaming service. That's a great show. A lot of fun. You want to tune in and you want to have some good laughs. You know where to find this. That's Daily Struggles on Riseup TV. If you don't have a Roku streaming stick, that's not a problem at all, because for as little as $30, you can get one at Amazon.ca. All of the Rob's Inner Circle merchandise is available at 514brandingco.com. You can get some amazing t-shirts there, some coffee mugs, some comforters, blankets, pillows, you name it, we got it all. That's Rob's Inner Circle merchandise at 514brandingco.com. We urge you to go on to the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel and watch all of our productions by going on to the playlist. You can select all of our amazing productions we got there. We urge you to give us some likes, some nice comments, subscribe to the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel, and of course, you want to hit that notification bell, because every time there's a new production coming out, you will be the first to know. Well, folks, it's time to slip into our weekly ritual once again. This is just before we get into the show. You want to take that deep breath, inhale, exhale, let out the bad air, and get ready for an amazing show. Folks, it's showtime. It's time to bring in our guest. Our guest is an amazing young performer. He is a multi-instrumentalist. He sings, he writes music, and he's a fantastic guy. And he's coming to you live from Calgary, Alberta, home of the Calgary Stampede. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome tonight's star attraction here in Rob's Inner Circle, Mr. Kyley Styles.
Well, I can't find a match with the ones I snatch. I'll be batting down the hatch all day. It's quicker than they latch, they just unattach, and then my perfect catch is swim away. In the tropical, it is topical to swim out to the Galapagos, and we'll find a party by the coast. Yeah, we'll make some music, make the most. So I once had a catfish, but that fish is now my old fish, just like my goldfish put her through hellfish. Back in a shellfish, like this promiscuous fish stings poisonous. As I float all alone in this cold, I wish that intuition tell me when it's jellyfish. Cause I can't find a mate with this bait I switch. No, all I find is belly of a jellyfish. Oh, don't want a piranha. When I fell with a whale, I'd like a date with a mermaid before me ship set sail.
Kyley Styles, what an amazing performance. Thank you so much for being with us on our show tonight. And you have the honor of closing the year 2021 here on Rob's Inner Circle. Kyley.
Well, that really is quite an honor, Rob, because your guest list is backed up down the block.
Well, you know what? As funny as it seems, we are booked up until April, and that is totally amazing. And that's, of course, thanks to the wonderful work that our producer does on the show. That's Jenny Duhame.
Give it up for Jenny.
Let's hear it for Jenny. And you know what, folks? Let's hear it for both Jenny and Patty, who've done an amazing job in 2021. Congratulations to both of you girls for making this show all that much better, and so much thanks. Kyley, something really special happened over the weekend. You were at the Robert McClure United Church, and what happened there exactly?
Well, you know what? I saw that Jeanette just wrote a comment down there. Jeanette.
Hey, Jeanette.
What a beauty Jeanette is. Like, I met Jeanette in October on the Riseup Tour, and just by chance, I threw her a free CD because I think I was just slinging them out that night. I don't know what was happening. But Jeanette got a CD, and she got in touch with me, and she does go to Robert McClure United Church here in Calgary. So just by pure chance, I really feel like our paths were really meant to cross. And then she threw this idea out for a Christmas live stream. And I just love to play wherever I can, whenever I can. But even better than that, like the scene for this live stream was one of the nicest churches in Calgary, Robert McClure United Church. So I know how those sound, and they sound downright heavenly. So I told Jeanette, you know what, let's do it. Let's throw this thing together. And it actually turned out to be a really, really good success. I'm very, very happy. And it is, I just couldn't think of a better way to really wrap up my, my year of music. Cause I feel like I've worked very, very hard this year, and that was a really nice reward right at the end of it. So.
Cool. Well, congratulations on a fine effort. And thank you, to everybody who's tuned in tonight to such an amazing show. Kyley, you're such an interesting guy. There's so much to know about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You're a songwriter, you're a singer, you're a musician, you're a multi-instrumentalist. We're going to get to that in a few minutes. But what style of music exactly is it that you play, Kyley?
It's kind of hard to explain. It's really the culmination of all of my roots, I would say. Plus a little bit of the new stuff sprinkled. That's good on the radio these days. So I started loving old time country, like 90s country, back when I was a kid, and that really taught me a good basis for story writing for a good song. And just sort of your basic chords and hooks. And from there, when I was in my teenage years, I like to rock out a little more. So we got the 90s country infused with the 90s alt rock. And then sprinkled on top of that is just a little bit of everything that I've heard along the way. Some sort of new age top 40 hip hop beats in there as well. And it all kind of comes together as one product that we call Kyley Styles. It's impossible for me to put a label on it. But I can say that I do believe that it is literally almost everything that I've picked up over the years that I've loved that goes into my songwriting.
So there's the fact that you play all these styles of music. Does that have anything to do with your last name, Styles? Or is that your real last name?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you my real last name.
Come on, it's Christmas.
I don't want people to stalk my family if I ever get famous. So we're going to leave it here. Styles it is.
Kyley, like many artists, you say you're a storyteller. So does that make you an avid book reader?
I was not until this year.
Okay, all right.
Actually, it was last year that I really started picking up books. Back when I was like 4 or 5, I was like a super reader back in ECS. I read Curious George before anybody else could. So they gave me a couple of really nice opportunities even in ECS. I was the only ECS kid to ever MC in a school assembly. So, and they usually reserve that for like grade 5 and grade 6 kids. So the fact that I could read off a script when I was 5 years old, I think they thought that was pretty impressive. So, as far as reading goes, though, I kind of lost touch with it for many, many years. And then last year, during just some of the darkest times that I've ever seen in my life and probably anybody's life, it really gave me a lot of solace, a lot of hope, a lot of comfort. Knowing that no matter what is happening, outside your little world, that you can stick glued to this book and your imagination can take you places that you never even dreamed that you could go. So I really did. Find a passion for reading once again in my much, much later years. So it's never too late, you guys, to pick up a new hobby and really start to enjoy it. I think I would have gone absolutely insane last year if I didn't have books, because it's almost the only thing that I really did have that was consistent.
So which artists influenced you over the years?
Some of my all-time favorites are the rock band Live, Lightning Crashes Live. They have influenced me my entire life, ever since I was a kid. Even earlier than that, I should say, one of my biggest influences was Tim McGraw. Back in 1994, I heard my very first Tim McGraw song, "Don't Take the Girl." And it taught me how to write a really good ballad at an early age. And he's someone whose career I've followed over the years. I got a lot of favorites from rock and country, Garth Brooks, Doug Stone from the 90s, and then, rock bands that I love, Eve 6, Jimmy Eat World, and one of my all-time favorite songwriters and singers in the history of music is Matthew Good, a Canadian guy. And I've had the opportunity to see him more than a few times, and he just blows me away with every new album that he makes. A lot of my songwriting is crafted around the formula that he has taught me over the years.
Well, you had an experience with Matthew Good. You came face to face with him.
I did.
After a show. Was that in Toronto at Carnegie Hall?
It was at Massey Hall.
Massey Hall.
And actually, my a funny story about how I got to Toronto in the first place. My band back in 2010, we were playing a showcase for Universal Music. And we were just a band from Calgary. And by chance, we got hooked up with this Universal Music showcase. One of the guys that used to be on Much Music, his name was Mark Spikolak. Very big name in the music industry here in the last 10, 15 years here in Canada. And he hooked us up with this show in Toronto. So we went down there just on a whim. We paid our own way down there, probably about $600 a plane ticket each for each guy. And we took a huge chance. And we went and we played on a stage for Universal Music.
Nice.
So while my bandmates were relaxing that night, after the show, I decided to go see if I could find a ticket to the Matthew Good show at Massey Hall.
Nice.
And because he's even recorded a live concert from Massey Hall. So this is a very legendary spot to check out the man, Matthew Good. So I got a chance to scalp a ticket from somebody, and it actually turned out to be a pretty good seat. And then as I'm turning the corner to Massey Hall, who do I see smoking a cigarette outside? But the one, the only Matthew Good, my idol, is in the house.
Hey, that sounds like a Rob's Inner Circle introduction there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, he's not going to come on and play 30 seconds of a song for you. But unfortunately, it would have been the absolute perfect experience, Rob, except my own idol would not shake my hand because, well, and I mean, can you blame him these days? Like, I've always actually thought that Matthew Good had a lot more foresight and could kind of tell the future better than most artists. Because, I mean, would you shake his hand right now? Probably not. But back in 2010, it was actually a very normal thing to do, to shake the hand of your idol. He was on a long tour, so no grudges, no hard feelings. He just didn't want to get sick, the guy. So, but I mean, that didn't really change the way that, people think about him as kind of a pricky dude. But
so Matthew was still good after all.
He was great. He was amazing. Matthew, great. Yeah.
So you write your own lyrics. Which lyricists have influenced you over the years?
There's a few in particular. Obviously, Matt Good. I just love the way that he formulates his lyrics with patterns and symmetry. Another couple of guys that I have loved since my teenage years were Scott Stapp from Creed. I really loved his lyrics back in the day, and as well, Ed Kowalczyk from the band Live is just an amazing lyricist, and the way that he rips his songs out, I strive to be more like those three guys every time that I read a song.
Hey, Kyley, I hear voices. No, I'm not going crazy. I hear people asking for an encore. Is there you have any room for another song for us?
I do. I always do.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's guest here in Rob's Inner Circle from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, Mr. Kyley Styles.
Well, you guys should know that I got a bit of a dream. I've always wanted to live in LA. So I wrote a song because you know what? What better way to manifest a dream than to sing it out to the universe? It's called I Want to Live in LA. I can take a ride down to Malibu Bay or head out to Compton to hang out with Dre. In Oak Town, I can watch the Raiders play, but I want to live in LA. No, I wouldn't mind to find myself in San Jose. In San Fran, I might even pretend I'm gay. In Napa Valley, we could have some great rosé, but I want to live in LA. Oh, I want to live in LA for a week, for a month, for a day. So let's take a plane now, what do you say? I just wanna live in LA. Oh, I wanna live in LA, cause the parties in the hills are great. So let's take a train, say I just wanna live in LA. Oh, I wanna live in LA for a week, for a month, for a day.
Wow, that's amazing. Hey, Kyley,
I like these. Short and sweet, buddy. Short and sweet.
Is there any room in that dream for someone else? Because I'm interested.
Yes, but not first class. You might have to travel coach.
Hey, you know what? It doesn't matter. Just for the travel. Once I'm going to be there, I'll be in first class anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, we better go in the next 3 days, man, because I got a feeling things are getting pretty weird here over the holidays.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Here in the province of Quebec, everything is shut down. So all the gyms, everything is shut down again, and we're back to square one.
I was very sad to hear that for you today, my friend. Yeah.
Oh, wow. How about you guys in Alberta? What's it like up there?
You know what? We're doing fine for now, but I believe that our restrictions are going the wrong way. I'm not a cynicist or cynical. I'm not cynical.
A cynicist.
A cynicist. I did get it right. Yeah, I'm not a cynicist, but I am a realist. And I literally kind of predicted this thing shooting like a snot rocket all over Canada here as soon as they saw one case come back to Canada. So, I mean, I'm hopeful, but I am going to go pick up some more books because I just don't really know.
Something tells me that Kyley Styles is going to be coming up with some amazing music during this other shutdown.
You bet. That is literally, man, the thing that keeps me sane is moving forward when nothing's moving forward. That's the only way that I can do it is to really push myself. And I came up with a bit of a new strategy when we were all shut down last year, and that was to start my day at 6 a.m.
Oh.
doing what I love to do the absolute best, and that is record music. So literally, last month, how this all started was last year in October. I did the October production challenge. This was just a challenge that was thrown out to me by a Facebook group, but I took it very seriously. And that was to basically work for at least 1 hour a day, every single day for the whole month of October. So that's 30 straight days, at least 30 hours. I must have put double that in. But very consistently, I worked every single day at recording a brand new track. And that is how the song Instance of Distance came to be on the album, because the power of persistence got me through that whole month. And so that's the secret to me having a happy life, is to start every single day by doing what makes me the absolute happiest.
Well, one of our viewers has asked, Don Pierce from the Don Pierce Show. Thank you so much for tuning in, buddy. He's got a question, and he wants to know if you're going to be playing in BC.
I am going to be playing in BC. January 21st to 22nd, I got one date in BC. It's Fernie, BC. So if you'd like more information on that show, add me up to Facebook, Kyley Styles, and we're going to be working it out here in the next month. But that is my plan, to cross that BC border here in January and play a lot more shows in BC in 2022.
Let's keep our fingers crossed that at least you guys are going to be spared from any further restrictions going on there.
You bet. Yeah, I'm hoping for the best. I feel like, maybe we all just need a little Christmas reset. And then we'll see which way the world turns here in the new year.
I just feel sorry for those who are keeping the Christmas shopping for the last minute, because I went with my girlfriend Christmas shopping today. It was crazy. Now all of a sudden you can't be any more than 20 people in the store. The lineups were insane.
Yeah, Amazon's making a killing because people are just sick
oh
of it.
My God, yes, Amazon's the way to go. I love Amazon. I'm an Amazonian.
Yeah, I had that experience actually last month. I went to the mall. It's probably the only time I'm going to here this Christmas season, because I couldn't get into anywhere. It was like an exclusive VIP club. It's like trying to get into the Roxbury, trying to get into Baby Gap. Like, there's just and there was bouncers at the door. People were kicking them out.
Wow, it's sad though.
Yeah.
Let's lighten up the spirit here a little bit. So, Kyley, who is it that records your music?
You know what? My first two albums were recorded by one of my fallen brothers. So we actually lost him here this year. So I'm always thinking about him when I'm recording music. His name was Joshua Walsh. And from the years 2012 to 2016, we recorded two beautiful projects together. And he was literally the guy that I've met over my life with the absolute most patience for me. And, even sometimes not, because we would have our fights just like any brothers would. But really what we were doing was trying to make the best product for the music, trying to make the best possible albums that we could. So, at the end of the day, we worked it out for the music. And then, unfortunately, I did get some very sad news here in October that he had passed away. So,
geez, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I really wish I had seen him one last time. He moved to Ottawa, and I hadn't seen him since. And so, unfortunately, he's always in my mind though when I'm recording anything, because he's literally the guru that taught me how to do this thing. I didn't know what Pro Tools even was before I met Josh. So I went to his house one day and just played a song for him. And he said, "Hey man, how'd you like to record that?" And literally, for the next 5-6 years, we worked on music together. And he's an irreplaceable person in my life. But there is also a part of me that really wanted to spread my wings and fly on my own and learn how to record my own music. So with a lot of the tips that he taught me, I bought my own setup, bought myself a pair of speakers, which was literally the best purchase that I have made in the last decade of my life, because it really got me started on a whole new path, a whole new hobby, and a whole new passion to to record as many songs as I possibly can and release them to the world and make them as good as I possibly can too.
So you released an album not too long ago. Tell us all about it. Is this the album called Creating My Colors?
You got it. Creating My Colors is my own baby. This is the first album that has been recorded, produced, and mixed entirely by myself. So I'm very, very proud of it. There isn't a lot of collaboration action happening on this album. There is one very special gentleman that I'm going to give a shout out instrumental wise on the album, and that his name is Rick McLeod, because he really enlightened me by playing a beautiful saxophone part on Instance of Distance, a very irreplaceable part. And the magic of this part is that I had it in my head in a certain way. And it's not easy to invite someone over to your studio and just ask them to record what's in your head. But literally me and this guy were connected. And he had a lot of patience in working out his part to make me entirely happy. So I got to give him a really big shout out for that. And then my album was mastered by a guy that I met actually in 2020 during the pandemic, who I also believe is another person that fate has put in front of me to work with me now and in the future. And his name is John Drosy, and he lives in Atlanta, Georgia. So by pure chance, I met this guy, and he's literally turned into one of my best musical friends. So me and him are actually starting to work on a sync album together to try to make a little bit of extra side money. And but I really do owe him a huge amount of thanks for helping me get through the process of recording my own album, because there's two sides to the coin of doing everything yourself. Number one, you're not the smartest guy in the world, so you won't always make 100% of the best decisions that you possibly can. But the other side of that is, you know what, you're gonna be happy with your own work. You're the one making all the calls, and the song turns out exactly like you want it. But there isn't anybody to tell you, no, that's wrong, bro. That is completely wrong. You are doing that horribly. So it's definitely a trade-off, doing everything myself and working with another producer. And I feel like, in my next couple projects, I may bounce back and forth between those two ways of recording, just to try to get the best out of the music.
So you're presently involved with Rise Up. So how is it that you ended up getting involved with the Rosner Management Group?
You know what? Well, me and Mark Rosner worked out our deal here in early 2021, and that was just around the time of the release of my song "Rise Up, Find the Sun." And I had just noticed all this stuff going on with Rosner's crew, Rise Up Tours, Rise Up, and they were literally the only ones that got to pull off the tours here during the pandemic. I believe they've done 3 or 4 by now, and just magnificent planning, really, from these guys to make this happen during such a weird time. But anyways, back in May when I released this song, he said, we're going on tour. We're gonna do this through Alberta. And I said, you know what? I believe you, because if anybody can pull this off, it's gonna be you and your hardworking crew, Mark Rosner. And sure enough, October came and we were booked for the tour. We made it happen. So it was me and 5 other bands that got on a tour bus. And this process wasn't easy either. They found a way to get the 64 audio tour bus. This thing is huge, down from the United States to Canada, which was a miracle in itself. And drive us rock stars around for a week. So we made the tour happen in October, and I'll never doubt Mark Rosner. When he says he's going to do something, he makes it happen. So I thank him for that.
Well, he's a friend of ours as well, and we want to give a shout out to Mark Rosner, also to Lisa Sanders.
Oh, she's a beauty. Lisa's a beauty, and Pamela. You're naming all the right names, right?
Pamela Tozer Harbottle. Thank you so much, all these beautiful and amazing people who are part of our lives and make our lives all that much better. Now that you mentioned the Rise Up song and the Rise Up commitment that you have going, well, why not just play the Rise Up music video and have the audience enjoy some of your other amazing work?
Sounds good.
Folks, this is Kyley Styles from Calgary, Alberta, tonight here on Rob's Inner Circle.
I started reading, 'cause leather binding books find better words. You could say I'm still competing to be up at 6 a.m. before the birds. How do you define succeeding? What hides behind the mind is what you heard. Is my confidence misleading? My reasoning may not be so absurd. Oh, I'm on a roll. This city saved my soul. My touch will turn to gold with simple self-control. Keep me out of this hole and rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up. When times get tough, we must rise up. We must, we must. Oh, it might be hard to fathom. Past the clouds, you'll always find the sun. I'm not the only one that has these dreams of being free and on the run.
We just showed an excerpt of your song Rise Up. That's a pretty catchy song right there.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
So, Kyley, let's get back into the nitty-gritty over here. Where do you write your songs? And, for example, is there a particular space you have to be in to be inspired to write both your lyrics and your music?
Yeah, you know what? I've always done a lot of my best songwriting at home. I'm not the guy that can go on a tour bus and pen a bunch of tunes. I really need, to focus and to think. So a lot of quiet is really good for me. But really, a lot of my songwriting, honestly, Rob, just starts with maybe one lyric or one idea that I will manifest for weeks. I might only have still that one lyric weeks later, but I know that it's coming because the way that my songwriting has always gone, at the right time, at the right moment, I'm going to think of the right line. A lot of times forcing it really doesn't do it for me. I need time to really just sit back and let it marinate in my head. And then once I get that start and it's going, a lot of it comes very easily after that. And then before I know it, I've got the lyrics to a whole tune. So
when you were 6 years old, you picked up your dad's guitar that was lying around. You picked it up, you started fiddling around with it, and the rest is history.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, I'll show you how I used to play the guitar.
Go ahead.
Okay, now picture me, I'm just a little kid, right? But what I would used to do is tune this guitar to just an open C string or a G string, an open string where you could just play the chord, and then it would be a beautiful, be a beautiful chord. You wouldn't even have to put your fingers on the fretboard at all. So I would literally sit there as a little 6-year-old go like this. Right? I mean, I'm a little more composed and my form is a little better right now. But yeah, that's literally how it all started, man. I just needed to know that I could make a sound out of this thing that sounded good. And I mean, that gave me confidence to just be a blossoming 7-year-old songwriter. So,
well, for a moment, I thought I saw Jeff Healey playing the guitar there.
Yeah, little steel action. Yeah.
While your guitar gently weeps.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Well, actually, that's one of the remakes he plays there from the Beatles, while your guitar gently weeps. Folks, go into YouTube, listen to the song by Jeff Healey. It's absolutely beautiful. What a beautiful version he did of that song.
Yeah, he's a great guitar player.
At age 15, your mother brought you, actually not brought you, but bought you a drum set, a guitar, and an amplifier. Is that in the same day?
It wasn't in the same day, no, but it was a hell of a summer, Rob. You know what? Actually, in the span of a year, we got the facts a little bit wrong. When I was 14, in grade 9, my mother bought me a guitar from Costco and a little amplifier, just a tiny little thing. And my biggest purchase that summer when I was 14 years old was a bigger amplifier, something with some distortion where you could kick in the gain and really start to make some noise. So that summer really started it all. And then the next year, for my 15th birthday, my beautiful mother, she bought me a Westbury drum set for the sum of $500. It was like this weird underground deal that we made with one of the music stores here in town. And literally it was the most excited that I think I've ever been. I had been a professional air drummer up to that point for the first 13 years of my life. I learned how to play drums doing this in the air. And then when I finally got something that made a little bit of noise, I was rolling. And then even, these little things that you add to your musical collection along the way, like it was a drum set that made noise. It wasn't the best sounding thing that I've ever had. But then, I started adding really cool pieces, like a nice sounding cymbal for what I'll never forget the first time I got a nice Zildjian cymbal. As opposed to the Westbury crack that they gave me. But like the sound of that cymbal was just so super smooth. As soon as I got that cymbal, then I started thinking about recording that drum set into a little microphone. Now, I didn't know very much about recording back in those times. I had my little sister's karaoke mic to record this. I literally stole it from her on the morning that I started trying to record. I didn't have a mic stand. I had nothing. I had this microphone and a drum set and a guitar and an amplifier. But I started putting some tracks together on a little program way back in the day that I used to have called N-Track Studio. And it literally taught me the basics of where I stand today, and that is recording full-fledged, tunes and albums on Pro Tools. It all started with my sister's little karaoke mic and a drum set with a crappy cymbal and a guitar and a tiny little amplifier. But you learn. You try one and you get better on the next one. You get better and you get better.
So now that we're in the subject of drums, tell us what your feelings are on electronic drums. Do you like electronic drums? Do you find that we have an advantage because we can raise and lower the volume at will and not necessarily disturb some of the occupants in the house that are sleeping?
Yeah, you know what, man? These days, things are a little bit weird, Obviously, we've talked about it, but people kind of need their space. People sort of need their isolation from other people. So the electric drum set is a really great way to set something up at home. If you don't have the space for a real drum set, which even I don't right now, my poor drum set is sitting in my storage space. So very unfortunate. But jam spaces are a little tougher to come by these days. And so I'm on board with the electric drum set. I'm actually looking into trying to get an electric drum set here for 2022 to maybe make my recording process a little bit easier here in the future.
You're very, very lucky and blessed to have had parents that are still to this day are very supportive, and that's something that few people have, as a matter of fact. And especially when you're going into music, it's very difficult to have support. Because you're always going to get you're not going to be able to live off that. That's not a real job. Get a real job. But you, on the other hand, have always had parents that have been supporting you. How has that played out for you during the years as you were progressing as a musician?
My mother has taught me to write nice songs. not hate songs. So creating my colors, I made just sort of with her little voice in the back of my mind, like, don't hate so much, spread some love with this effort. So in a big way, there's always my mother's voice in my head saying, don't say the F word in that song. Why do you need to do that? But really, and I think there's really, she's the one person that my music can touch more than anybody else, and that's really what I'm in it for, is to touch some hearts. So she's always been very supportive, and my dad too. At the very basic level, I think he was the one who passed along musical roots to me. Because, my mom can't carry a tune in a bucket. But my dad, he used to play the guitar. I'm sure he knew a few chords back in his day. I would have loved to see him as a young, blooming rock star himself, trying to impress my mom by playing her some love songs. The live stream last night, I did with my mother in mind, because I wanted to play the nicest, most beautiful songs for Christmas that I could. And really, I think I chose the right way, because a lot of people actually watched it with their mothers last night. And they sent me messages saying, you know what, my mother loves this. My mother is 90 years old and she couldn't have been happier. And I thought, well, that's because my mother told me how to make it happen for them. So yeah, I'm very thankful for my parents and my family in general. We've got a really tight, loving crew here, and I'm very, very lucky to have it.
Have you been approached for your music to be used in movies or TV shows?
I'm working on it. That's part of my plan for 2022. In recording this brand new sync album. This is a lot different than what I was recording here for the last 8-9 years. I am trying to produce some songs now with commercial production in mind. So
nice.
A lot of what we're doing is catchy music, catchy jingle sort of stuff, short and sweet. And we're really going to try to push this here in 2022 and look for a side way to make some music here that maybe doesn't involve me putting so much darn work into an album. I just want to see, if maybe we can clear a little bit of a different path here for my production as well, while still keeping in mind my original music.
Let's give a shout out to our good friend Tim Steinruck from Vancouver, BC, who's tuned in. Hi, Tim. Thanks for tuning in.
Santa Claus himself, Tim Steinruck. He's spreading cheer all over.
He's a great guy. We had him on the show. We absolutely loved him, and people are still talking about the show that we had him on. He was absolutely amazing.
Of all the people that blew my mind on the Riseup TV tour, and there were more than a few, because we had an amazing group of musicians, but Tim Steinruck as a human being, the tricks and the tools that he uses to keep his mind and his body in absolute peak shape is incredible to me. He literally went and dove into a frozen pond with Kenny.
Oh my God!
This place is one of the most iconic lakes near Canmore, Alberta. It's right before you hit Canmore. I think it's called Lac d'Arc. And or I probably just butchered that because I think it's French. But it was frozen when we got there because it was a bit of a snowy week in Canmore, and him and Kenny did some breathing exercises, and they said I'm gonna stay in here. We're gonna go take a little frozen dip. And I thought, you guys are crazy. Like I gotta play a show later tonight, and I'm all by myself. Like I don't know if what's gonna happen when I hit this frozen pool and try to get out and play this show. I said, no, I don't got the nuts for that. But Tim Steinruck went in there like a pro with Kenny, and they probably stayed in there for about 10-15 minutes, something like that.
God.
But they had set their bodies up to be able to absorb what was about to happen. And that was really the most impressive thing to me is how his mind and his breathing changed the way that his body worked. So Tim, very impressive human being you are, man. I can't wait to maybe spend some more time with you here on some upcoming tours and see what else you're hiding up your sleeves.
You know, that gesture raised $541 for the Movember movement that we had going.
That was the second time he did it. The first time he did it,
congratulations, Tim. Very nice.
Yes,
Very well.
Congrats.
Very well.
To be able to witness something like that with my own two eyes was some of the most special magic that I've ever seen.
Now that we have Tim in the room with us right now, and maybe not in body but in spirit, you got an interesting project that's going on with other Rise Up artists and bands, and Tim is involved with this. What's this all about?
Tim is a huge part of this. And this actually kind of came as a surprise to a lot of the guys that were on the tour. You know, I don't know if anyone knows this, but we made our own secret Facebook group. It's called the Rise Up Brotherhood.
Oh.
And we've got all the boys from the bands in the group. So Tim just came to us one day with this musical track. Then he put some lyrics on top of it. Then Tyler from the band Son of Man, who was a big part of the tour as well, just a great vocalist, added something on there. And then I thought, you know what? Well, if all these other dudes are going to do it, Kyley Styles has got to get in with something special. So I made a little rhyme for the track, and there's still a couple spots open on this track. But even more impressive than that, after me, then Glenn, the guitar player from Revolution Engine, came in with just a crazy cool solo. So there's literally a spot for everybody to get on this track at once. I think we're waiting for a couple more people to get their parts in, but we've got a really, really good start on it right now. And I think it's going to be part of the actual Rise Up Alberta episode that's going to be released in 2022. So
beautiful.
Thank you, Tim, for getting that started for us, because I feel like, you know, once those wheels start rolling, this song is going to be done in no time. So
that almost sounds, you know, in comparison to the Canadian artists that came together. Notably, I had Brian Adams and Anne Marie, among many others, for the Africa AIDS effort.
Yeah.
Is there anything behind that? Are you actually going to be like reaching out to maybe one of these organizations, or is it just like a collective effort?
You know what? I think more the point of the song is to try to explain to people how we as human beings have risen up over the years. A lot of us have been in really, really low places, and it was something that you know, that we talked about with each other on the tour and really connected over. And so I believe that every person getting their soapbox, their own personal place to step up and let people know how they're feeling is the point of the song. But then an even bigger point of the song is that we all rise up together as a group, because that's really what we did on this tour. This thing was hanging in the balance 1 week before we got on the tour. Like, the cases in Alberta were freaking crazy. So I didn't even know if this thing was going to happen. But as a collective effort, we made sure that everybody got on that tour bus, and that we went to every single city with as much passion as we did the night before to make it happen for some people, you know, that we've been missing out on live music for a long time, and it seems even longer. So just to give people some entertainment for an entire week across the province was really rising up to the occasion and making it happen. So I think there's a lot of that goodness in the song, and I think a lot of it is just really, you know, trying to explain people that that there's something inside you that's waiting to get out, something that's waiting to rise up. And I think as a group, we knew that collectively when we worked together, you can't beat us. We had just a killer tour. And a lot of the memories that live on from that tour, I'm gonna remember and cherish forever.
Well, Mark Rosner was on our show recently, and he was recounting some of the amazing memories that happened on the tour bus as you were touring. And, you know, just to reiterate a little bit what you're saying, there are a lot of amazing memories that took place on that tour.
For sure. I mean, I hadn't done something like that in 13 years. There was a tour that I had the opportunity and great fortune to be on in 2008. Called Rockaganza, and we went all around BC. Invermere, Kimberley, Cranbrook. We went a whole bunch of places with this tour, and then we took the camera crew with us. So there was 4 bands on the tour and a camera crew. And the crazy feeling of deja vu when I heard about this tour coming up, this Riseup tour, I knew I had to be on it because I've already experienced something like that once before. But it's been so long. I've had some different priorities, in the past few years, and really I've been aching, really craving to do something like that again, to get on the road with my brothers and play music, but most importantly, make sure that we capture it all on film so that we can show the world what we did. And that's really the point of what's coming. Like, the best is still yet to come. 2022 is going to see the release of the actual episode on ROKU and on Riseup TV. So that I cannot wait for. That's always something good. That's just waiting to be delivered to us here in 2022.
How have older generation artists such as the Rolling Stones and company, how have they influenced you? And if they did, in which way?
You know what? I can respect the Stones for the fact that they're still together. They're just chugging it out, and they literally have been doing that their entire lives. If I could be lucky enough to play music when I'm as old as Mick Jagger, if I can be lucky enough to walk when I'm as old as Mick Jagger, you know what I mean? This guy is an anomaly. But it's only because he was put on earth for the purpose to make people happy with his music. And to be lucky to have such durability, in your musical career. I mean, I can't even put a finger on it. I couldn't even think about what it might take to play as many shows, record as many songs, play as many right or wrong notes as the Rolling Stones have over the years. It's incredible.
So you have something in common with virtuosos such as our local rock star here in Montreal, Aldo Nova, and there's also Phil Collins from the UK. These two fellows, just like yourself, are multi-instrumentalists. How many instruments do you play?
I mean, I guess we could count them up quick if we got a couple minutes here. I started playing back when I was very young, 5 or 6, the accordion. And my mother would not let me quit the accordion. While all the other kids in elementary were out having fun, doing what they wanted to do, playing on the playground. No, I had to go to accordion lessons. But while I didn't like it so much back then, I've really come to appreciate just how conditioned I became to music very early on in my life. So it started with the accordion. Then even before I picked up a guitar or a drum set, I picked up the trumpet. So I really started to learn how to play the trumpet in junior high and high school. And then obviously we learned the guitar, the bass, the drums. Even in high school, my old band teacher was kind of evil and made me play the triangle for like the whole show. She'd point at me and then I'd go ding, and then that would be me for like the next 5 minutes. So we didn't get along very well, me and that band teacher. Yeah, and I've picked up a couple things along the way as well. The keyboard, I've got myself a really, really nice keyboard that makes some cool sounds. Love to play the piano when I can. I'm not great at it, but I do try. I could play Lean on Me on the piano, and that's really all that I need to get through any house party. And most recently, I tried to learn the last year during the pandemic the violin. Very, very tricky instrument. One of my good friends, Maria Medlow here in Calgary, she gave me some free violin lessons. I should have taken her up on more, to be honest with you, because I'm not sure that offer still stands. But I did go for 3 or 4 free violin lessons, and I really learned a lot about kind of what it takes to play this instrument. It is a very, very tough instrument to learn, and it's not something that I'm just going to pick up like that. In fact, it's probably the only instrument that I've tried to pick up that I can't just play right away. So, but we're learning slowly but surely. One day I will be a violin virtuoso, I hope.
Tell us about the time that you were in a band and there was 250 bands competing, and something amazing happened. And this is one of the greatest memories that you're going to take with you even into the other side.
Sure.
So what is it exactly happened that is just special?
Sure. Well, speaking of violin virtuosos, back in 2006, I met one of the most influential characters that I've ever met in my life, and still to this day. His name is Uncle Bill, and he's a violin player that had been playing for many, many years, like almost 50 years. I think he said he started when he was like 7 or 8 years old. So the guy's been playing a very large portion of his life. And we had this old band named Satori, my first band. You never forget your first, right? So we had a competition coming up, a battle of the bands, to open up for Lynyrd Skynyrd. And this was our first battle of the bands, and we had just by chance found Uncle Bill at an open jam here in Calgary, and we said, "Hey man, you want to come like play with us next week? We got this pretty big show coming up and we want to win." And he's like, "Sure guys, yeah, let's do it." So he didn't know us from Adam. We're a bunch of young guys, and he's a bit of an older fellow, but really plays with the heart of a teenage child. Like he's just got so much love and passion. He makes you feel young again. So we won the trip to play for Lynyrd Skynyrd, to open up for Skynyrd in Kelowna that very night. And from that moment, we decided to really dedicate ourselves to the music. Now, a half a year later, a very important opportunity came up, and it was the $100,000 Star Search from a local radio station here in Calgary called 598.5. And we almost literally never even made it to the auditions. We had, a bit of a problem guy on our hands who literally slept in. The auditions were at 8 a.m. and we had to go to his house and pick him up and drag him out of bed to make sure that we made the auditions for this. And just by pure chance, like the guy didn't get any sleep the night before. It was just really crazy how he'd set us up to fail, but we didn't fail. We made it through the auditions and then took it a little more seriously after that. Before you know it, 3 weeks to a month later, we had beaten 249 other bands to make it to the finals of the $100,000 Star Search against one of the biggest bands in Calgary. They were a rock band called Joshua's Habit, and they had played way more of these things than we had. But we showed up with 400 to 500 of our closest friends and family. We packed the place, and we made those judges know without a shadow of a doubt who earned the win that night. And sure enough, we came out with the top prize. They gave us that big giant check. You know that scenario that you always dream of, where someone hands you a giant check that says $100,000 on it. Everyone's taking pictures. Yeah, we made it happen. We won the money, and we cashed that giant check, recorded an album, made a music video, and the rest was history until the very sad day in 2011 where we broke up for good. It happens to the best of them, right? Everyone except the Rolling Stones, it's happened to. So
you're a huge Calgary Flames fan, right?
I do like the Flames. Yes, they are my team.
Well, we prepared a very little tribute for you here at Rob's Inner Circle.
Hey, is that so?
Well, maybe you're gonna recognize some of these faces here.
All right. Joe Nieuwendyk.
That's Jim Poplinski.
Oh, Jim Poplinski. Okay, here we go. I'm just about to screw this whole thing up.
Who's that?
No, these are more old. These are like 80s Flames, buddy.
Okay, so that's Tim Hunter. I'll give you a chance.
Tim Hunter. Okay, I should have known by the nose. He's been beaten in the nose more than a few times.
Who knows, right? and I have another one. This is your favorite. If you go wrong on this one, Kyley, I'm firing you.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I think I know who's coming up. There he is. There's my boy, Theo Fleury.
There he is. I love that guy.
One of the biggest goals he ever scored in his entire life. And a legendary celebration, should I say, around
I love that. He would showboat on the ice like nobody can.
For sure, man. Yeah. Literally some of the youngest memories that I have of the Calgary Flames are the young guns. Like back 94, there's Newey. Is that
that's not Newey? That's Willie Platt.
Well, you know what? Okay, well To be fair, he's got Nieuwendyke's number on.
There you go. And I got two more. We're going to go through these quickly because it's almost time to close up the shop here. And that's a 1989 souvenir when they won the Stanley Cup right here in Montreal.
I mean, don't you know that we've won the Stanley Cup twice, but they just didn't give us the second one.
How come? What happened?
That we hit the post, apparently. Game 6.
Yes.
Game 6 against Tampa in 04. We'll never forget that.
No, forget it. Oh, my God. And you know what? This fellow right here, Mr. Lonnie McDonald.
Now we're talking.
He played with the Toronto Maple Leafs for so many years, and I believe he spent 7-8 seasons with Calgary. And when he won the Cup in 1989, he was able to retire. Yeah, and I was so happy for this gentleman. One guy I do feel sorry for, and it's too bad, Darryl Sittler as well, who was traded to Philadelphia to finish off his season. This is turning into a Hockey Night in Canada round table here.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Yeah, Lanny went out on top, baby. That's all that really matters, right?
I was happy for Lanny and the Calgary Flames. You know, now, from now to then, however you say it, congratulations. You know, this is from myself and all of the gang here, Rob's Inner Circle. One last thing. Let's talk about the Calgary Stampede, and then we have to sign off. The Calgary Stampede is one of the biggest festivals worldwide. What is exactly going on at the Calgary Stampede? It's not just about rodeos. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
No, yeah, and the Calgary Stampede has gone through a bit of a facelift here in the last couple years. But some of the things that make the Calgary Stampede the absolute best place to be during 1 week in July every single year is the food, the concessions, the games. The music is incredible. Some of the best bands that I've ever seen, some of my favorites, have played at the Coke stage at the Calgary Stampede. And then even then, they bring in some of the biggest country acts in the world to play at that Stampede. I once saw Garth Brooks at the 100th edition of the Calgary Stampede. Oh. It was probably my number one show of all time was Garth Brooks at the Stampede. It was, I think, 2016, maybe something like that. And he came and they gave him a belt buckle to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Stampede. And they also gave Trisha Yearwood one. But the biggest part about this concert was the whole place was a standing ovation from the very first song of his set to the very end. Nobody sat down the entire concert. We have some really hardcore music and country fans here in Calgary, and the Stampede is the place where they show that off.
And you're also a Stampede baby.
I am. You know what? My mom's going to be happy that I tell you guys this story because it's her favorite story. She's told everybody that I know. When I was born, the doctor handed me to my mother, maybe feet first. I'm not sure. But she said, Marilyn, this one's wearing cowboy boots. July 9th, right in the middle of the 1986 Calgary Stampede.
Wow, amazing. You know, this show went by so fast, Kyley. It's time to sign off. Thank you so much for being on, and thank you to everybody for tuning in to tonight's show. You get the last word, Kyley, if you want to sign off, if you want to say anything to the audience before we sign off for good here.
You included, Robert. I just want to give a special thanks to everybody that was on my side in 2021 that helped me with anything that I needed, music-wise or otherwise. I'm very grateful to the people that I have in my life now that I'm calling my crew, because it had been many, many years since I really thought that I had a very solid crew. To get a solid crew, I had to get rid of some of the people in my life that just weren't very good for me. And which opened up some great spots for some amazing people that I've met this year. So I just want to give a very sincere thanks to everybody from Rosner Management, to you, to all the people that helped me with my album. There's too many to name, but it would be impossible. But I just want you to know that I think about you all the time, and I'm really grateful for your help. And anytime that you guys need something from me, I'm there for you too.
And you have our best wishes here from myself, Jenny, and Patty. Best of success to you for the year 2022 coming up. And we hope it's going to be a much better year than it was this year. Though, under the circumstances, we fared off pretty well, I would say.
Hey, can I tell you a secret? This
has been
This has been the absolute best year of my life, Robert.
Oh,
Hands
funny
down.
as amazing.
It's not even sarcastic. No, it really has, because I felt enlightened all year and very focused on the goal. I set myself a lot of goals in January that I really needed to accomplish by the end of the year. And with this episode, this is the final goal, my final commitment that I have to accomplish this year. So I'm very happy that we've done everything that we said we would do.
Thank you so much, Kyley, for coming on our show. Stay tuned. We're having our meet and greet behind the scenes with Patty and Jenny. Stick around.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
There you have it, folks. That was our guest tonight, Kyley Styles from Calgary, Alberta. Such an amazing show. Thank you once again to all of you for tuning in. Join us January 10th. We're going to be taking a 2-week break. January 10th, we're going to welcome an amazing Montreal artist. He's a bassist and a musician, Mr. Mike Marino. From Patty and myself and Jenny, thank you so much for having supported us this year. It's been an amazing run, and we have a beautiful year 2022 coming up for you. We have a lot of amazing guests and a lot of new things coming, so stick around. So, Patty and Jenny, thank you once again, and everybody, thank you. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see you once again on January 10th. Good night, everybody.